An amazing, beautiful thing happened. I'm not often moved by a letter, but I was today by the letter that Congresswoman Elise Stefanik wrote to the Judicial Conduct Commission about the behavior of that crazy judge, Judge Engoron, who was presiding over the fake fraud trial of Donald Trump. The guy even looks like a clown, right? Bozo the clown, purple shirt, crazy hair. I'm sorry, it is getting a little bit personal. But thank God there are people out there like Elise Stefanik who doesn't just moan about things on Twitter, actually tries to get this guy removed from the case by creating a logical, ethical, 100% applicable letter outlining this guy's abuse of the system. And he's going after Trump because he doesn't like Trump. And she proves it. So she wrote this letter. I want to go through it because it's beautiful, but it's sad at the same time, right? Let's focus on the beautiful part. This judge's behavior has no place in our system. The judicial system is being politicized to affect the outcome of the campaign. Judge Engoron has displayed a clear judicial bias against the defendant. Last year, Judge Engoron told President Trump's attorney that the former president is just a bad guy. Judge Engoron entered summary judgment against the defendant before the trial even began, without witnesses, other evidence, and cross-examination. Trump paid back the sophisticated Wall Street banks on time, in full, with interest, as agreed. Did you know this part? These banks and insurance companies, supposedly defrauded, continue to do business with the defendant. Yeah, with Donald Trump. Yet Judge Engoron decreed before the trial that the defendant somehow committed fraud. Judge Engoron told the defendant, "We are not here to listen to what you have to say," he told the defendant's counsel. "I am not here to hear what he has to say. Now sit down." Judge Engoron and his staff are partisan Democrats. Judge Engoron donated to the Manhattan Democrats. Section 100.5 of the Judicial Code says that judges shall refrain from making a political contribution to an organization. Judge Engoron has gone on to gag and fine President Trump for merely criticizing Judge Engoron's law clerk, which is core political speech, protected by the First Amendment. To gag a defendant is un-American. And then there's this. There was an expert witness, and they asked him, hey, who would buy something like Mar-a-Lago? Who could possibly buy it? This happened in earlier testimony. Here's what the guy said, the expert. I could dream up anyone from Elon Musk to Bill Gates and everyone in between. Kings, emperors, heads of state, but with net worths in the multiple billions. Now, he was asked a question, who could buy this place, right? The judge dismissed the testimony like this. Obviously, this court cannot consider an expert affidavit that is based on unexplained and unsubstantiated dreams. This guy is totally out of touch, totally out to get. Yeah, like this. Judge Engoron's disdain for President Trump and his politics are evident. If Judge Engoron can railroad a billionaire New York businessman, a former president of the United States, and the leading presidential candidate, just imagine what he could do to all New Yorkers. And in another jurisdiction, all Americans. We are all at risk here, and society is not stopping it. Society is going along with it. That's why I say this is a very beautiful letter from a brilliant woman, the Congresswoman, but it's also very sad because it reflects that this is happening and nobody can really do much of anything about it. The media are letting it happen, the judicial system letting it happen, but that's where the culture is. It's in a free fall. You know, we're supposed to have standards that are universally applied, but they're not. And things are crazy. St. John's Church, the President's Chapel, right across the street from the White House, they have a Black Lives Matter sign out front. That's a code for don't burn us down again. Yeah, we're going to embrace the trans, atheist, communist agenda of Black Lives Matter. We're actually going to put it on our church to leave us alone. How about what's happening with pride? A little bit too much pride, right? A little bit too much right there in the church, drag shows in church. Now, the guardians of democracy, at one point, the media pretended to do that, right? the New York Times, the Washington Post, right? They actually had these heavyweight columnists, these actually pretty good men who were giants in their field. William Sapphire, right? Big time columnist. And this guy would call out BS from both sides. And we don't have that now. And one side is running with it. Our side, right here, I think the standard should apply to all. The standard should apply to Democrats and Republicans. And when things go wrong on both sides, watch this.
The independent investigation has concluded that Governor Andrew Cuomo sexually harassed multiple women and in doing so violated federal and state law. I am announcing that today we are filing a lawsuit against Donald Trump for violating the law as part of his efforts to generate profits for himself, his family, and his company.
A tool of the establishment who goes after whoever she's told to go after. The first segment there, she's going after Andrew Cuomo. I'm no Andrew Cuomo fan. I don't like the nursing home situation. I don't like that he signed a $5 million book deal while he was still governor. But I know this about Andrew Cuomo. He's no sexual predator. And the Bidens wanted him gone, and they got him gone. You want to see an example of his sexual harassment? We all saw it on TV. It's in the Attorney General's report. Here it goes.
Be no reluctance. This is Dr. Elizabeth Dufort, who is in the appropriate PPE wear. Nice to see you, doctor. You make that gown look good.
Head up a little bit.
Head up.
Close your eyes.
Close my eyes?
Good.
Why do I need to close my eyes? You can question the doctor. That's okay. Why do I need to close my eyes?
For comfort. It might make you tear a little bit.
Okay. If I fall asleep?
Then we'll have you sit down. Head up a little bit.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's it?
That's all.
Nothing else?
That's all.
You just witnessed sexual harassment, according to the State Attorney General of New York. That's a victim right there in the gown. You know what he said? You'll make that gown look good. Did you notice that? That's technically sexual harassment. According to the AG's report, she actually put it in there. Call this person a victim. A victim. State entity employee number 2 was shocked that the governor had made such a comment on national television. Huh? She's one of the survivors, right? You see how rigged this system is? Cuomo's no predator. And Donald Trump is not a fraudster. Taken out by the same woman who was told to take them out by the Biden people. And Biden works for Obama and who knows who else. I find this totally fascinating and totally illuminating and illustrative and instructive. Take a look. This is another example of sexual harassment. Yeah, right here. They posed for a selfie. Does that girl look like she doesn't want to be next to Cuomo? I think we're all adults here. I think we all know when something, executive assistant number 1 was assisting the governor in his office at the executive mansion when the governor asked her to take a selfie photograph with him. This is evidence of sexual harassment. Everybody knows that that's not sexual harassment. Everybody knows that this is not sexual harassment. Shaking a woman's hand. This was cited by the Attorney General as well. You're looking at a victim of sexual harassment, allegedly. What's going on here? We, and by that I mean, MAGA, Make America Great Again. Those of us who believe in the Constitution, who believe in right and wrong, we have to defend Democrats and Republicans. We have to adhere to standards, the law. I'm very proud, actually, of this because he's an unpopular guy, and he was back then. And as he was going down, 2 people stood up for him. Literally only 2. New York Times summarized that everybody was fleeing him. Among the only public figures inclined to defend Mr. Cuomo publicly are conservatives, the former Mayor Rudolph Giuliani and the Newsmax host Greg Kelly. And if you look back on it, actually, President Trump was somewhat sympathetic to his plight. Doesn't mean we liked him as a governor, but we know what fairness looks like. We know what unfairness looks like. And sometimes you got to support your enemies. The whole society is falling down right now. And how is it that Donald Trump accused of fraud, this guy accused of sexual harassment, And Joe Biden is still walking around. Joe Biden. He gets to do this. He gets to do this. He gets to do this. He gets to get checks for $200,000 from this guy, that relative. And everything's fine. The system is being manipulated and used for those in power to keep them in power. And we shouldn't stand for it. We got to get out there and vote and stay active. All right, what's next?
Breaking news. New York Mayor Eric Adams confirming that the FBI has seized a cell phone from him as part of a federal investigation.
Breaking news, everybody, out of New York. Mayor Eric Adams' campaign has just confirmed reporting from the New York Times saying the FBI seized iPhones and an iPad from his home.
This breaking news just in, with a source confirming to CNN that the FBI has seized New York City Mayor Eric Adams' phones and an iPad of his in part of its federal corruption investigation.
As I totally predicted, this guy was no good from the start. Actually, no good 30 years ago. He joined the police department, he said, to ruin it. His big claim to fame was, I'm a cop, therefore I should be the mayor. And coming from a Democrat, oh my goodness gracious, that's so interesting, so innovative, so different. He fooled a lot of people. Now he's in trouble. Yeah, sure, he hasn't been arrested yet, but this is not going in the right direction. The FBI seizes his phones. They have a warrant. I expect his arrest to happen imminently, but we will see. And I expect this from a guy who joined the police department to ruin it. Again, he said that. He said that. He joined the police department to take it down. And you can't trust a guy who, instead of being a cop when it was his job, instead, he hung around Al Sharpton, wanted to be his bodyguard, and Minister Farrakhan's bodyguard. Yeah, the crazy anti-Semite, right, who would come to town and Eric Adams would show him around. This is a bad guy, but that law enforcement credential, he abused and fooled a lot.
For 22 years, I wore a bulletproof vest and stood on the street corners and protected children and families in the city of New York.
Wow, he's a hero. Just ask him. That's when he actually had some money and to produce campaign commercials. Before he became mayor, it was more of a do-it-yourself operation. Check this out.
And no one can state that you can't search a room in your own home. You write the Constitution. There are no First Amendment rights inside your household.
All right, you got that? He's telling you how to run your household because, after all, he's a borough president. Next.
So if you come to a room like this, you can start out, I always recommend to start out in a periodic fashion so you'll be used to going through the room to look at the various items in the room. You can look in the jewelry box. A jewelry box of this nature, maybe a simple jewelry box, but if you look through it closely, you don't know what your child may be hiding. For instance, a gun could be hidden, a small caliber weapon could be hidden inside a jewelry box. Look at the various colognes and perfumes and photos and pictures.
These tips could save a kid's life. Oh my God. How about the music? Give me one more.
You should always, when your child brings in his popular knapsack with many different locations, look through it to see what exactly is your child carrying in addition to a book. Something simple as a crack pipe, a used crack pipe. Could he have found it on the street? That's quite possible. But this is a discussion piece where you should start speaking with him to find out what is he doing with it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for these totally and utterly useless tips made with taxpayer money. Can you believe it? Anyway, looks like he's going down, and he didn't get much better as mayor.
This is a great city, and I'm the Biden of Brooklyn. I do the boogaloo. I salsa. I'm a black man. That's the mayor.
Every day in the police department, I kick those crackers' ass.
Don't stand in front like you treated someone that's on the plantation that you own. One of my best gifts, as you know, marijuana is legal. I have bamboo.
Oh.
Yeah, let's smoke a little weed after the show, Stephen Colbert. Great message for those children. Moments ago, you were telling, parents, look for the drugs. So, bad guy, but I think this was an authorized takeout by the Biden administration. He wasn't getting along with Biden. The breakup, Biden and Adams avoid each other in New York because Adams was complaining about the immigration situation and begging for billions of dollars, not trying to do anything practical to fix the migrant situation, to keep them out of New York.